The Sha'Carri Richardson vs. Shericka Jackson rivalry lives on in Tokyo. Remember when we saw them giving some tough time to each other on the track in the 200m at the Budapest World Championships? The Jamaican had set the track on fire with a run of 21.41s, defending her 200-meter world title, while Richardson settled for bronze with 21.92, pushed down by Gabrielle Thomas's silver performance of 21.81. Now, as the American looks to defend her 100-meter title, they meet again in the heats of the 100m in Tokyo. Spoiler: the defending champion wins. How? Despite the slow start once again, the defending 100m champion clocked her fastest time of the entire season. While still not a sub-11 to win the third heat of women's 100-meter in the World Athletics Championships, she recorded 11.03 seconds on the clock. Shericka Jackson crossed the line just behind Richardson in 11.04 seconds. A very close race indeed. Yet the American once again takes the lead in this contest. Australia's Tori Lewis finished third, clocking 11.08 seconds. While both of them had a slow start, Shericka Jackson was quick to the lead in the race in lane 5, while Richardson trailed at number 2 or 3. The commentators were quick to point out, Shericka Jackson with a very nice start. Sha'Carri Richardson has some work to do, needs to be in the top 3. And the American did. In the last few meters of the race, the 100-meter world champion accelerated for the win by 1/10 of a second. Their record now stands at 5-5 in the 100m, and it also marks Richardson's first win over Jackson in the last 2 years. Their last clash was in the 2023 Prefontaine Classic, when the Jamaican had clocked a time of 10.70 seconds to claim victory. Sha'Carri Richardson, however, was fourth in 10.80, outrun by Ivory Coast's Marie-Josée Tallou-Smith, 10.75, and Elaine Thompson-Herah, 10.79. Shericka Jackson and Sha'Carri Richardson's 100m rivalry. If we talk about their 100-meter clashes, both of them have been speed demons on the track against each other. At the 2023 World Championships, in the semi-finals of the 100m, the world saw Shericka Jackson outrunning Richardson, winning that race is 10.79 seconds. Marie-Josée Tallou-Smith clocked the same time, finishing ahead of Richardson at 10.84s. However, in the 100m finals in Budapest, Richardson clinched the gold by clocking a time of 10.65, while Jackson finished just behind her in 10.72 seconds. Before that, at the 2023 Silesia Diamond League, the American toppled her Jamaican counterpart in a thrilling finale. Richardson won the 100-meter in 10.76 seconds, just getting the better of Jackson, who clocked 10.78 in Poland. Interestingly, this year at Rabat Diamond League, Jackson stood atop the podium in 100m finals with 11.04 seconds. However, her American rival didn't participate due to a delayed season debut. However, both Richardson and Jackson came face-to-face at the National Stadium in Tokyo. And once again, by winning the heats of 2025 World Championships, Richardson was able to have an upper hand over her Jamaican rival, as the American is now looking to defend her 100-meter title. Both are solid contenders to be in the finals of the 100m, and that would be a face-off worth watching, a race where they would put their best foot forward for the medal. The electric buzz inside the stadium could be felt long before the gun went off. Fans had poured in from across the world to witness history at the World Athletics Championships, and when the women's 100 meters heats appeared on the schedule, the anticipation reached its boiling point. For months, headlines had been dominated by the rivalry between America's Sha'Carri Richardson and Jamaica's Shericka Jackson. Both had been in sensational form leading up to the event, but few expected the drama to unfold so early in the competition. The heats are usually where favorites conserve energy, glide into the semi-finals, and avoid unnecessary risks. Yet, when Richardson and Jackson were placed in the same heat, Sparks flew instantly. The crowd erupted as the two sprint queens walked onto the track, each carrying a swagger that screamed confidence, but also carried undertones of rivalry. Sha'Carri, in her signature flashy style, sported her brightly colored spikes, her hair flowing as if it was part of her aura. Jackson, calm and composed, had the steel of a champion, ready to prove that Jamaica's sprinting tradition remained untouchable. The build-up. Sha'Carri Richardson had been battling doubters for years, from her early controversies to critics questioning whether she could ever truly dominate the global stage. But in 2025, she arrived at the championships not just as a contender, but as one of the most feared sprinters in the world. Her season-best times had placed her consistently among the top 3, and her explosive start had been refined through countless hours of training. On the other side, Shericka Jackson, reigning Olympic champion and one of the most versatile sprinters of her generation, stood as the immovable force. Known for her smooth acceleration and top-end speed, Jackson's name was synonymous with consistency and medals. To line up against her, even in a heat, was like being thrown into a lion's den. Yet Richardson was not intimidated. The race. The hush before the start was so thick it could have been sliced with a blade. The sprinters crouched into their blocks, eyes locked on the track ahead. Set. The gun fired, and like lightning bolts, they launched forward. Richardson's start was sharp, perhaps the sharpest of her season, her powerful strides eating up the track from the very first step. Jackson, usually the master of building speed through the middle phase, was a fraction late out of the blocks. That split-second difference gave Richardson the early edge. By 40 meters, the American star had carved out a noticeable lead. Her drive phase was crisp, her arms pumping with controlled aggression, her face locked in determination. Jackson surged back, her trademark acceleration beginning to show. But Sha'Carri held firm. The American's turnover was relentless, her cadence hypnotic as she refused to let the Jamaican reel her in. The finish line drew closer. The crowd, sensing the upset, roared in unison. And then, it was over. Richardson dipped ahead, crossing the line first in a time that was faster than most expected for a heat. Jackson followed closely behind, her expression betraying a hint of surprise, though she quickly masked it with a competitor's grace. Shockwaves in the stadium. It was just a heat, but the message was deafening. Sha'Carri Richardson had finished ahead of Shericka Jackson in the opening round, sending a ripple through the athletics community. Fans rose to their feet, some in disbelief, others in jubilation. Social media erupted instantly. Clips of the race flooded timelines, with captions ranging from "Sha'Carri is back" to "The Jamaican Queen has been tested." For Richardson, the victory in this heat wasn't about medals or records. It was about psychological warfare. Sprinting is as much mental as it is physical, and by beating Jackson head-to-head in the first round, she planted seeds of doubt. The message was simple. I am here, and I am fearless. Post-race reactions. As she walked through the mixed zone, Richardson's energy was magnetic. With her trademark confidence, she told reporters, "People thought heats were just warm-ups. But for me, every race is a chance to prove something. I respect Shericka, but I'm not here to bow down to anyone. This is my time." Jackson, ever the professional, smiled when asked about finishing behind Richardson. It's the heats. The real race is coming. Congratulations to her. But championships are about the final. Her calm demeanor suggested she wasn't rattled. But those who knew the sport understood the subtle pressure brewing. The bigger picture. The significance of this heat went far beyond the track. For years, the Jamaica-USA rivalry in women's sprinting had dominated athletics. From Florence Griffith Joyner to Shelly Ann Fraser-Pryce, the baton of supremacy had passed through legends. Now, the next chapter was unfolding with Richardson and Jackson as the central characters. Richardson's win symbolized resilience. She had faced setbacks, ridicule, and even suspensions. Yet here she was, outpacing one of the best in the world when it mattered most. It wasn't just a victory for her career. It was a statement for anyone who had been told their dreams were out of reach. For Jackson, the heat loss was less about defeat and more about awakening. Champions rarely take early blows lightly, and her camp knew that this might fuel her even more for the semifinals and final. The stage was being set for a showdown that could rival some of the greatest sprint rivalries in history. Fans' perspective. Around the stadium, fans buzzed with speculation. Some Jamaican supporters dismissed the result, insisting Jackson was simply conserving energy. American fans, however, were ecstatic, chanting Sha'Carri's name, waving flags, and celebrating as if a gold medal had already been won. Social media debates raged. Was this a turning point in women's sprinting? Was Sha'Carri about to dethrone Jamaica's dominance? Or was Jackson simply playing the long game? Looking ahead, the semi-finals and finals loomed large. Both Richardson and Jackson knew that the real test was yet to come. But what this heat provided was something no statistic could measure. Psychological momentum. Sha'Carri's fearless approach, her ability to seize the moment, had shifted the narrative. As analysts dissected every stride, one thing was clear. This rivalry was no longer theoretical. It was alive, real, and destined to define the championships. The track, after all, has a way of exposing truth, and for now, the truth was that Sha'Carri Richardson had bested Shericka Jackson when they lined up side by side. The final word. In the grand theater of athletics, sometimes the smallest races deliver the biggest stories. Sha'Carri Richardson's performance in the 100m heats wasn't just a win. It was a declaration of intent. She showed the world that she wasn't just chasing medals, she was chasing legacy. And as the sun set over the championship arena, fans left with one burning thought. If the heats could deliver this much drama, what fireworks awaited in the final? Who do you think will emerge victorious? Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button, like, and share. Till next time.